Welcome to Combat Sports Talk, a podcast dedicated to UFC and Bellator discussions, the MMA community, and combat sports in general. I am not your co-host, Casey. Dang it!
You were going so well. You were doing so good.
At this point, it's been years, and I still can't get our own intro. But I'm Casey, and clearly you've got Ryan T. Smith.
What up, what up?
Aw, it's kind of weird having these roles reversed.
It is, isn't it?
I'm going with this whole Freaky Friday the 13th episode. That's the theme. We're switching things around.
No, what is Friday the 13th? That was...
I have no idea.
Yeah, that was Twilight Zone is what I was doing. So.
Yeah, so we switched roles and you've already started messing things up just like I do.
Yeah, you know, I'm sitting in the co-host seat very well. It's comfy.
Well, today we're going to talk a little bit about UFC Fox 29 with Justin versus Dustin, the matchup that was set up with a terrible tongue-twisting title, which brought plenty of exciting finishes. So we've got lots to talk about from the matchup, as well as some of the post-fight interviews. A lot of crazy things being said, which is apparently why we have these post-fight interviews. Then we'll kind of wrap up with what's going on this week and talk a little bit about the hype trains. So let's jump into it with our segment that we like to call the official decision.
The official decision.
All right. Well, this is the official decision.
The official decision.
This is a segment where we recap the fights that matter and discuss the ramifications of the actions on both Friday and Saturday night.
Wait, there was a fight on Friday night? I know there's one on Saturday night, but there was one on Friday night?
On behalf of the show, Bellator, I apologize because clearly our host, Ryan T. Smith, doesn't have the respect for you guys that you deserve.
It's the red-crested stepchild of the Combat Sports Talk show.
Well, Friday the 13th had some weird things happen, given that I was wrong for the first time ever.
Whoop, 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 whoop. You are no longer the Nostradamus of fight picks.
This title, I will earn it back. I promise you one day. But clearly I am on a slump in being able to pick fighters here. So the Bellator 197 happened out in St. Charles, Missouri, back where I went to school. And I had some few friends from over there. Remember that place. Good times. Well, we had Chandler versus Gertz as our main event of the evening. You know how I'm feeling about that one now.
Absolutely. So, yeah, Michael Chandler, you know, he's the guy that I picked, right? Because, you know, I remember he was like a former champion, and I felt very confident that he was going to put out Brandon Gertz early. I just didn't think it was that early.
Wow. So what gets me, he's a former champion who lost so bad and who took his loss so poorly that he actually said he didn't want the title back. So clearly he's changed directions, gotten his mind straight, and he put a stop to Brandon Gertz. Brandon Gertz lost by triangle choke in a fight that was marred by lots of stoppages. There was eye pokes, there was groin kicks, but they finally got their acts together, and I think it all starts with basically a beautiful double leg by Chandler that really set up a beautiful triangle choke there.
All right.
After the fight, Gertz says that it was a matter of a dislocated shoulder that he suffered during the fight that did not allow him to defend himself and ultimately led to the stoppage.
Well, there it is.
There it is.
You gave Bellator 197 like a full 2 minutes.
I love Bellator.
Clearly.
Well, tell us a little bit about your thoughts on UFC Fox 29.
Well, Fox 29 happened in Glendale, Arizona, the Gila River Arena. Gila.
Nice. I'm glad you took that one because I was like, I don't know, bruh.
The Gila River Arena in Glendale, Arizona. You know, Fox cards are really short, right? So You've only got 4 fights on the card, the main card. And, you know, the thing was by the... Okay, let me tell you how committed I am to... It's both how committed and not committed I am.
Fighters, do not take this advice. This is not good.
So we're sitting at... we're putting the kids down. And we finally got a night to ourselves. Friday night, was our 16th wedding anniversary.
Whoa, I did not know this part of the story.
So it is our 16th wedding anniversary on Friday night. We had a nice dinner, but we came back Saturday night, put the kids down, settling in for a nice evening. My wife stretches out on the couch, start changing the channel to find us something that we're going to watch. And sure enough, she hits Fox, where UFC on Fox 29 is playing. It's the main event, Justin Gaethje versus Dustin Poirier. And I yell, "Stop! Stop! This is the main event. We have to watch this."
This is the most romantic thing I've ever heard in my life.
I'm like, we already missed the first 3 fights. We have to get this fight. You have to watch this.
Oh my gosh. So the thing is, because you and I talk back and forth about, you're basically my love life coach. And now hearing this, I feel like I have to fire you as my life coach.
You know, it's one of those things where I want to let the fans out there know that I am committed to the show. And I was like, I have to watch this right now. So what she did was she tossed the remote over to me, curled over, went to sleep, and I got to watch the beatdown that was Dustin Poirier whooping up on Justin Gaethje.
Apologies to your wife. For our listeners, if any of you end up being my future wife, I promise I will never be that dedicated.
Okay, so let's go from the top real quick. Michelle Waterson defeated Courtney Casey via split decision. Here's one that was ridiculous. Was Israel Adesanya, also known as the Style Bender. He defeated Marvin Vettori via split decision. I don't know what that judge was thinking. You know, perhaps he got the sides mixed up. This fight was not close. Like, I'm surprised that Stylebender actually went to decision. Like, this fight should have been ended.
Yeah, therein lies the problem. You got to make sure you fully put away a fighter, because you never know what the judges are going to do. That's
why you don't leave it in the hands of the judges, because you have a judge who completely sees the fight the other way. It's not like, you know, the two judges saw it 30-27, you know, 3 rounds to 0, and one saw it 2 rounds to 1. No, there was one judge that saw the other guy who got his tail whooped.
Yeah. Winning
the fight. Like, how do you even do that? Like, the first 2 rounds were clearly style benders.
I wish they had the judges kind of give an explanation. Like, I feel like that would force them to be more accurate in their judging. Like, explain to me how you scored this fight.
Yeah, that would be kind of cool if there was, you know, you could say 10-9, and then it would be, you know, I voted red because he whooped blue's tail.
Yeah. I don't know. Just a little note on how scoring could go. I think it'd be interesting.
I think the judges should be held accountable to explain when they do whack crazy stuff like that. Whack crazy stuff.
Wickety whack.
Wickety whack. Alex Oliveira, the cowboy who came in late fight replacement for the immortal Matt Brown to fight Carlos Condit, defeated him by submission. Did you see how much blood Carlos Condit had? Like,
so much. Well, I think part of it was just the choke just squeezed so much more blood out of that.
Oh my gosh.
It was there was a river of red just streaming there.
Well, and Carlos Condit started strong. Now, for those of you out there, Carlos Condit, the natural born killer, was a fighter who really was at the top of his game. Everyone thought that he was going to someday be a world champion. He you know, there were lots of great fights that he had, but he came up against Georges St-Pierre. Georges St-Pierre did his thing. And ever since then, Carlos Condit really has struggled to get back to that zenith of his game that he used to be at. So this was one of his last fights that Carlos Condit had said that he was interested in retiring. Matt Brown said that he wanted to come out of retirement to fight Carlos Condit in his last fight. Of course, Matt Brown got injured, so Carlos Condit had to fight Alex Oliveira. Here's the thing. We always talk about the fact that late fights replacements rarely ever win. And Alex Oliveira looked like he was going to lose with the rear naked choke that Carlos Condit had him in the first round. But because Alex Oliveira is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, he was not worried, escaped that, and then eventually got Carlos Condit in a guillotine choke. It's a guillotine choke, via submission. And so
that's generally how that works.
That's generally how it works. So here's my question for you. Carlos Condit has now lost his last 4 fights. He's lost 5 of his last 6 and 7 of his last 9. Dude,
I think he's just battle worn. It's probably done. It's over.
I mean, he's got more L's than Baylor does, man, in football.
I'd make fun of you, but I mean, what do I have? SMU, so
yeah. So
it's not much better.
So yeah, I mean, this guy. Is it time for him to call it quits? Is it over for the natural born killer?
I would definitely say it is. I know you're one of these big guys, like go out on your shield, and there's nothing more that Condit can do at this point.
I think he did go out on his shield. The dude was okay. He was bloody.
Yeah, he fought valiantly. I will 100% say that, and I don't think he gave up at all.
He tapped out. He gave up.
I don't know that tapping out is the equivalent of give up.
It is. It is when you tap out.
Is he supposed to just like go completely choked out there? No one does that. Doesn't make sense.
I just thought it was funny that you're like, well, it's not like he gave up. No, he absolutely. When you tap, that is saying I give up. That is what a submission is.
He submitted. He did not quit.
He did.
I hate you. Semantics, folks. The man had all the fight left until there was nothing more, and the only decision left was tap out or choke out. So
okay, so he could have choked out.
Well, no one gets choked out.
He could have gone black, is what you're saying. If he had gone unconscious, then you could say that he did not quit.
You know what? Moving right along.
Dustin Poirier defeated Justin Gaethje via knockout in round 4. So you got on the Dustin Poirier hype train
very early.
You were like, "That's my dude," and I picked Justin Gaethje just to be on the opposite side of you, so that we'd have some contention.
That's what it was.
Oh yeah, yeah, of course. I mean, who picks Justin Gaethje? But Justin Gaethje, we'll just call him Gaethje.
He had a good game plan, because if you watch the fight up
leg
front,
kicks, woo.
The leg kicks were just devastating. And even if you watch the sequence of how the fight goes, when we get to the 4th and Gaethje gets rocked, Poirier can't really run forward. He's very flat-footed, but he's still just that fighter's determination, clenched fist, just zombie walking forward with the leg that basically doesn't work. So true fighter spirit on both. But man, what a game plan by Gaethje. He just didn't have presence of mind to try to clinch or go for a takedown at all once he was stunned.
But that's the thing, right? Is that, this is very similar to kind of, I'm thinking of Ronda Rousey. I'm thinking of Damian Maia. These are fighters who are grapplers, whose game it is to take people down. And Justin Gaethje is one of those guys. He's a great wrestler, but he's gotten success in these big brawls, these street fights that he has in the ring, that he's gone completely away. Rory Nelson is another one who's gone completely away from what he does best. And so that's what ended up happening. Dustin Poirier is an elite striker, and Justin Gaethje is trying to make a brawl out of this, and it's just not working. I mean, the number of strikes, they said that Poirier had landed 125 strikes or something like that in the first 2 rounds, which is unheard of.
Well, it's one of those things that works until it doesn't.
Well, it didn't. I mean, the leg kicks are part of his signature, but if you're not using it to set up a takedown so that you can, gas out your opponent and ground and pound them for a win, it's just leg kicks. And Poirier, because he was doing so much damage, he just stayed in the pocket, did his boxing, and eventually he got the shot that rocked him, and away you go. But my question is for you: can Justin Gaethje continue to take this level of damage? Because he had another knockdown, drag-out fight with Eddie Alvarez the fight before, and he lost that one too.
No, and I think Poirier actually called him on this. Gaethje doesn't have a sustainable fight style. He's got to learn to vary up his game and can't just focus on being a press forward and hope for the best kind of fighter.
Yeah, well, it was one of those things where Justin Gaethje says that he's only got about 5 fights left.
Yeah.
So maybe the end game is for him to have these concussion-producing fights and hopes that he can continue to get those fight of the night bonuses and then call it quits and never fight again.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
All right.
Wait. Gaethje is also the guy who says at the end of the interview, and I think we'll probably talk about this a little bit later, but it's not really about the win or loss for him. And I can't wait. We're just going to tease that and what the implications of that statement are.
All right. Well, let's close the book on this one, put it back on the shelf, because this fight is history.
Dunzo.
It's history. What's that I hear? Is it a hype train? I think it is.
Train.
All right, so we're going to just kind of run through this because I don't want to spend too much time. Typically, we look at the the fighters who won, and see if they if we're going to get other hype train or not. You got punching a ticket for Michelle Waterson. She's had a good fight against Courtney Casey.
Michelle's doing well. She just seems like a very relatable fighter, and I hate to not be on her hype train, but I mean, with the division as shaky as pretty much all the women's division right now, she could do amazing things, or she could easily get stunted really quickly in the next fight or two. So I'm just not ready to jump all in and say that she's going to be the next big thing.
Okay, frankly, I'm not considering getting on anybody's hype train unless they're fighting for the title. I mean, that's the fact is the women's division, they're so light with talent that I can like somebody, but they're not really a contender. So get a title shot. Let me see what you can do, and then we'll talk about getting on your hype train. So I'll look and see what Raquel Pennington does against Amanda Nunes. But The fact is that I would consider being on her hype train if she can beat the Lioness, but it's not going to happen.
No one's gonna take away this belt from her.
Oh well. Israel, the style bender, Adesanya.
I remain on this train. Some holes in the fact that he's. I don't know. I'm not gonna say that it's terrible that he didn't finish his fighter, because how many fighters is Khabib finishing right now? So.
Yeah, but Khabib's fighting the best style bender. I don't know if Marvin Vettori is clearly the best. But I'll tell you this. I want to see one more fight from him. I mean, a lot of people are saying that he is just a smaller version of John Jones. Seeing him fight, I can believe it, but I'm not there yet. Let me see him. Let me see him one more time. Alex Oliveira, the cowboy. What he did to Carlos Condit. Does that get you on his hype train?
I mean, it's Condit who's on this crazy long losing streak. Nah, I'm good. I do like the flashes of just being so comfortable with your jiu-jitsu that you're willing to wait out a submission. That's kind of dope.
Yep. I'm not on it, even though I do like the fact that he dances to the hype. He dances to the ring. You know.
That was cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Carlos Condit, are you getting off the hype train?
Never was on it, though. I'm so forever team Matt Brown.
Well, I gotta say that I am gonna have to get off the Carlos Condit hype train. It's time to go, dude. I'm really sorry. So this was for you, Carlos Condit.
Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype.
All right, Justin Gaethje.
What about him?
You on the hype train?
No one's on his hype train.
Yeah, I put him on there just because he does fight. I mean, the fights he
I can't say no one, because I mean, you get enough bonuses, people are definitely feeling you.
Yeah, I don't like the fight style. I don't like the recklessness. So I'm going to stay off that one. Last one, Dustin Poirier. You're already on it.
That train. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. I'm going to say, dude, I'm not on it, but I'm jealous.
I will say I worry about the fact that he doesn't seem to want to commit to having a ground game much. He doesn't really seem to need it in most of his fights. It's there if it has to be, but at this top level, just throwing hands and finding ways to win is probably just not going to be enough. So I worry about that.
Yeah, I don't know how this is going to play out versus a Tony Ferguson, a Conor, and well, we know how it plays out against a Conor.
No, we don't.
Yeah, we do. Conor's already beaten Dustin Poirier.
Oh, he didn't beat him.
He got diamond dusted.
Ugh.
Diamond pressed. What was DDP? Diamond Dallas Page? I forgot what his finishing move was. Anyway.
The fact that you know that means that you should be the ultimate Ronda Rousey fan.
Nope. I've become less a Ronda Rousey fan. Even though, like I said, last week, I respect her athletic ability. She actually did really well for a first-time person out in doing, on such a big stage like WrestleMania 34. All right. So that's it for the hype train. Let's get right into some of the topics on finding the angles.
Finding the angles.
This is Finding the Angles. This is where we look at some of the headlines making waves in the wake of the events this weekend. And so, the first thing I wanted to do was cover this Conor McGregor makes statement on Instagram nonsense. Conor McGregor, Connie Mac.
I'm so done with this.
The Irishman. So, Conor McGregor so we know that he is embattled. If you don't know why Conor McGregor is in trouble, go back and listen to like the last 3 shows. We've talked about Conor McGregor ad nauseum.
Or 4 shows, or 5 shows, or forever.
He is Conor McGregor. And so, and just know, for fight fans, KC and I don't just talk about Conor McGregor on the show. There are lengthy conversations that happen throughout the week that include Conor McGregor references. I mean,
it's the worst. I was at the dog park today and people were staring at me as I'm taking Sherlock out and talking to you about the merits of Conor McGregor and trash talk. And someone actually tried to join our conversation. It was super weird.
Weird. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I had to shoo him away because he seemed a little bit sketch.
Really? Like, well,
yeah.
he heard you say Conor McGregor and wanted to get involved, huh?
Yeah, he got I saw his face brighten up and he's walking towards me. I'm like, no, not today.
Oh, wow. So Conor is facing felony charges. I've read reports that he could be looking at 11 years in prison. If he gets convicted, he would not be able to get a visa to come back to the United States. And so it could be the last time we see him fight in the United States. So we may have to only see him fight outside of the United States. So he posted on Instagram a picture of himself looking off into the distance, and the caption reads, I thought about doing an Irish accent, but it would be
please do it.
It's only a lesson if you learn from it. I learn every day.
Oh, Danny boy.
Conor, we don't buy it. No, we don't. I don't buy it. That's right. I don't believe the hype. I'm hitting that. There it is again.
Don't believe the hype.
I don't believe it. Conor.
I love that he just looks like an Instagram thought right now.
Yeah.
The most basic, looking off into the distance, and a nonsensical quote. Ugh.
Oh, man. Yeah. Sorry, Conor.
Because if you look at the context of what he says, it's only a lesson if you learn from it. My friend, you're clearly saying you didn't learn from it.
Well, this is the thing, is how did you not learn that lesson earlier? He's like 29 years old. Don't throw a dolly at a window. How about
this notion of a prolonged adolescence is ridiculous. You're a 29-year-old man. These are basic lessons that you learn in childhood. You can't throw tantrums. There are consequences to your actions. I give you no leeway that you're growing as a person. You're an adult man. Figure it out.
Yeah, Conor, I'm sorry. In so much as I want to give you a second chance, you have not earned it. You got to earn that second chance. And doing these little, it's only a lesson if you learn from it. I learn every day.
We need the drop of sit down, be humble. I feel like every time we talk about Conor McGregor, it's going to be apropos.
All right, I'll cue that up for next week. All right. Faraz Zahabi says, no doubt about it, GSP is the greatest fighter of all time. Do you agree?
He's not wrong. Wait, yeah, he is.
Yeah, he is.
I was like, hold on. But we both know that I refuse to engage in a greatest fighter of all time conversation.
Not with me, because I have very strong opinions. GSP, he's a lot of things, but he is not the GOAT. I think that people want
the GOAT?
The GOAT is most definitely Royce Gracie.
Watterson.
Royce Gracie is the GOAT. Royce Gracie. If you look, call me up. If you don't think that Royce Gracie is the greatest of all time, find me. Find me on Twitter. Find me on Instagram. Heck, I could bring you on the show.
I thought you were going to say, see me in the streets. You got like way too amped about that. Like, get at me.
Get at me, bro. Do you even lift?
Do you even lift, bro?
Yeah, Royce Gracie is the greatest of all time. George St. Pierre has done a lot of things. He has won a lot, and even though I don't give him very much credit for beating Michael Bisping, he did accomplish that. So is GSP a lock for Hall of Fame? Yes. Is GSP one of the greatest fighters that we've seen in the UFC? Absolutely. But when you add that of all time, sorry, GSP hasn't changed the game.
He didn't change the game enough. Yeah.
Yeah. Royce Gracie changed the game. All right. Here's another one. Alexander Gustafsson waiting for UFC offer, would box John Jones. Is this something you'd be interested in?
100% yes. I mean, only because as much as I follow any fighter on Instagram, I probably follow John Jones. And mostly because I love seeing the way he trains, and his movement is still just fantastic. The thought of a fighter in his prime like that being knocked out for something that even the Athletic Commission says was not his fault bothers me. And so I still want to see him showcase his skills and talent. So I would absolutely watch a boxing match between these two. The downside for me is I don't think that Gustafsson's hands are enough for me to care about his boxing style.
But Gustafsson is the boxer of the two.
Yeah, but
so
I really don't think that his hands versus John Jones are going to matter.
I think Alexander Gustafsson wins that fight if he boxes John Jones. The problem is that it's boxing, so...
What?
Well, Yanni, it must be boxing we're talking about.
Ugh, boo.
Yeah, get in the octagon, Gustafsson. Your shoulders healed up. Come on. Let's see what you can do against one of these light heavyweights. Come on, put the gloves on against
I don't think he's the problem in this. I think it's the UFC and the way that they're so worried about marketing that they forget that there's supposed to be brackets, and it shouldn't be that hard to set up a fight. You just look for the next guy on this bracket.
Well, I wrote a whole blog about the way they should be setting it up. But Alexander Gustafsson, the fact is that when you start looking at what he's done lately.
What have you done for me lately?
Like, he wants a title shot, and I'm like, dude, why would you deserve a title shot?
Legacy reasons, man. I mean, that's what anyone's marketing. No one's really caring about the fighting, what your numbers are. I mean, you can be number 11 and fight for a championship.
Well, we definitely found that out, right? But there were extraordinary circumstances that had to happen. Like,
all right, I'm using it as an outlier as an example. I will grant that.
So let's be clear. I want to be fair to Alexander Gustafsson. He did his last two fights. He won. He beat Glover Teixeira and he beat Jan Blachowicz. So there you go. But his last fight was almost a year ago. Okay, so I don't know that he is qualified for a title shot. Why don't you beat somebody? Volkan Ozdemir? He's out there. Go ahead, show what you can do.
That would be a very good fight. Why did I go to that voice?
I don't know, but maybe Yoda can come and tell us.
Yeah, for our fans out there, I've never seen Star Wars. Go ahead and hate me. I'm at Ryan T. Smith.
Man, why are we so militant tonight, man? It's like me. I'm like, come at me, bro. You don't like my greatest of all time pick? Let's go. And you're like, I've never seen Star Wars. Come at me, bro.
But I gave them your handle, not mine. Don't really come for me.
No. I've seen Star Wars. I've seen the first Star Wars 50 times.
Oh, that's so gross.
So
that made me uncomfortable in my soul.
So let's get to this one that you were talking about. Justin Gaethje says that he isn't in the sport for win or lose. To him, it's about the entertainment factor.
Which seems to be, this is our lengthy conversation where I'm like, to me, UFC should be about a continuation of the long legacy of martial arts being about respect, self-discipline, all this stuff. And I know that there's this tension that has to be held in balance between the old style and old ways of doing things and the fact that, yeah, no one's going to pay to watch just pure sport. Like, there has to be some spectacle to it. And so the fact that we're seeing fighters openly say that they care more about the spectacle than the sport is problematic, because to me, young kids are looking up to this, and this is kind of the next generation happening. So in 5 years, do we have it basically just the WWE where the fighting's an afterthought? All I cared about is, did we put on a good show?
So I really do need to do a heavy bag about this whole WWE reference. There's entirely too much people. There's entirely too many people making analogies about UFC and WWE, and that's problematic to me. And so with this, I think Justin Gaethje is saying it's all about the entertainment factor. If he puts on a good fight, it doesn't matter if he wins or loses, because he has fought an entertaining fight. And I think that is evident with the fight that he had with Eddie Alvarez and even this fight with Dustin Poirier, that he put on a fight. He put himself in harm's way. And the fact is that he made irrational decisions in the fight to take the damage that he did, when he could have taken Poirier down, or at least try to take Poirier down. So I think that when he's talking about entertainment factor, I think it comes back to the purer sense of, let's just go rock'em sock'em, let's make the crowd happy and show them, and feed that bloodlust that the crowd gets whenever they come into the ring, when they come up to the arena. I don't think he's talking more about the WWE style of putting on a show as opposed to fighting well, whereas the WWE is all about craziness and antics and stuff happening out of the ring, bringing chairs and having your valets and managers throw you sledgehammers and crap.
We actually call them valets. Thank you very much.
There you go. But I think next week we may queue up a heavy bag about why we need to stop the UFC WWE references.
Well, they need to stop associating. Oh, I can't wait, because I want to do a heavy bag after your heavy bag and say, look, if the UFC doesn't want it to happen, maybe stop bringing over WWE fighters and sending your fighters over there, and stop having joint promotions. That'd be awesome.
Mayweather is now weekly saying UFC fight in the
works.
I was like, it didn't scroll back over.
This run sheet brought to you by caffeine, where sometimes I make mistakes. Nah, that's just been an interesting one for me, because Dana White denies that this was in the works, and yet he also denied that a boxing match was going to happen either. So it's hard to say what's happening. But we know for sure that despite Woodley saying he's got a July return to the UFC or to the Octagon, he has been spending a lot of time training Mayweather in the art of mixed martial arts. So this could very well be a real thing, because no one's denying that the training is happening. The only thing is, no one knows where the talks lie right now with getting Mayweather licensed and the UFC actually making this happen.
Well, the bad part about the UFC is that it serves as the promotion and the regulation board, the matchmaker, if you will. Yep. And so in so much as they're doing that, there's no motivation for Dana White to work with Floyd Mayweather, because Floyd Mayweather
other than money.
But Floyd Mayweather it's going to be Mayweather Productions. It's going to be on Showtime. And the thing is that Dana White doesn't like the executive over the Showtime Sports. So not only does Dana White have to share the proceeds with Floyd Mayweather, but he's probably going to have to do some co-billing with Showtime when he doesn't want to do that. So there's a lot of reasons why this fight's not going to happen, in addition to the fact that I hear that Floyd Mayweather wants to fight with modified UFC rules. So that would mean no takedowns. And if that is true, then really, like, does he
what are we even doing? We're just boxing in an octagon.
Well, here's the thing, right? Is that if I don't know who he would end up fighting, but let's say he would end up fighting Conor McGregor. If Conor McGregor can't take him down, that means that you start running into problems with submissions and things like that. But there is something called a leg kick. Justin Gaethje will tell you what it's all about. Floyd Mayweather has never been kicked in the leg. And competition. Come on, they're working on it now. And I think that if Floyd Mayweather started getting kicked in the leg for a full 5 minutes, just those hard kicks, he would lose his will to fight very, very quickly.
I will break you.
I will break you.
Da.
All right.
Well,
is that it?
We'll see. In other news, I got nothing, bro.
All right. Well, let's hop on into the fight card then, because we've got another card coming up this weekend.
What?
The fight card. This is the fight card. This is the segment where we look at the fights that are coming up this weekend, and we are looking at New Atlantic City, New Jersey, UFC Fight Night, Barbosa versus Lee. There's some good fights on this card. Like, I am actually impressed. The month of April has been very good to the UFC. They've put on 3 really, really good cards. This one is no different. Jim Miller versus Dan the Hangman Hooker. I like this guy, Hooker. He's the one that beat...
I'm telling your wife you love Hooker.
This is the guy that beat Mark DeCassie. Mark DeCassie was like, I don't know that you would say that he was winning the fight, but he actually wasn't winning the fight. Dan Hooker was winning the fight. But I remember the guy, Mark DeCassie's corner, like, hey, whatever you do, don't go for the takedown. and DeCassie runs in, sticks his head, you try to take him down, and Dan Hooker puts him in a guillotine submission and fights over. Got him. Aljamain, the Funkmaster Sterling, ranked number 8. He's fighting the number 14, the pikey Brett Johns.
Pikey. Is that a pejorative?
It's his name's the Pikey.
Sure I saw that in that movie with Brad Pitt. Dang it.
What you talking about? What's it called? It's the Irish one, right?
Yeah.
Snatch is not. What is it?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay, we got to look it up.
Just check. Yeah. Good old Google to the rescue. Yep, you nailed it.
Boom.
Nailed it.
So yeah, the pikey Brett Johns. David Branch is back after the beatdown that he took from Luke Rockhold. Number 8, he's going against Thiago de Lima Marreta Santos.
Nice.
Marreta.
Really good at your language.
No, he's Brazilian, so it's Portuguese. So it's de Lima Marreta, which you know what that means?
The machete.
The sledgehammer. This is the guy that has Thor's hammer tattooed on his chest.
This guy.
David Branch is going to get crushed, but I hope for an exciting fight.
He will break Branch like a twig.
Oh!
Why am I so hype right now?
I don't know, but we should start the show over so we can get this KC the whole time. Like, this is hype KC. I like that guy.
I have been drinking sugary drinks this whole time. I'm hopped up.
All right.
I'm all hopped up on Mountain Dew, old man.
All right. Well, I got the Dr. Pepper over here. Big Pretty Justin Willis.
Ugh.
Big Pretty. That dude is big, but he ain't pretty. He's fighting the Vanilla Gorilla Chase Sherman.
All right. Yeah.
More like Magilla Gorilla. But anyway, I digress. Number 3, Frankie the Answer Edgar versus number 4, Cub Swanson.
Good old Cubby's back.
You got a flash fight pick here. Frankie Edgar got smashed by by T City Ortega, Brian T City Ortega, and he's back already. Like seems really, really fast to be back versus Cub Swanson.
Guess who's back? Back again. I'm going Cub on this one, bro.
Yeah, I'm liking Cub on this one too. All right, and finally for the main event of the evening, number 4, Edson Barbosa versus number 7, Kevin the Motown Phenom Lee. Kevin Lee's
Barbosa
back.
Just took a beating too, yeah.
Yeah, he took a beating from Khabib Nurmagomedov. Yeah, but that was back in February, so I guess he didn't take too much damage. But Kevin Lee coming off of his defeat at the hands of El Cucuy.
Or was it at the hands of staph infection?
Well, typically, if you get beat by staph infection, that means you probably shouldn't have gotten to the ring because you had a staph infection.
Look, don't lecture me. I didn't do it.
Robert Whittaker sure didn't go into the ring when he had a staph infection.
Fair enough.
He was in the hospital, so he couldn't even go home. But anyway, Kevin Lee, who you got? Flash fight pick, Barbosa or Lee?
I think they both lose.
You know what? I'm going for Barbosa, but I think Lee is going to win. I think Lee has the combination of wrestling and striking. Dude was fast against Tony Ferguson. I was impressed at his speed, but I do not like him as a fighter. I don't like his persona. I don't like his promo talk. And so therefore I want Barbosa to win this fight. I want it bad.
So his promo talk is effective at billing him as a villain. So he's a good heel, which gets him paid. So maybe he's doing the right thing.
He's an effective heel, but I don't like him. There's some heels
that's an effective heel.
No, there's some heels that I respect. Like I respect that you are a heel, but Kevin Lee is in the Colby Covington area.
Yeah.
Like Colby Covington is in a place by himself. By the way, did you see what Colby Covington did this week?
To be honest, no. I've followed
it's not on the
that would bring it up.
It's not on the run sheet. But remember last week we were talking about how he was saying that Raquel Pennington didn't like him because he was Raquel Pennington was jealous because her wife Tisha Torres was looking at making goo eyes at Colby Covington. Well, this week he took a picture with I'm assuming 2 models.
Oh, I did see this. It was so grotesque. Women are not accessories.
Yeah,
I don't know why it's that hard for fighters to learn. These women are not accessories.
So this is going on to him trying to be this Conor McGregor style.
You said that with a soft A instead of an ER. I love that. Conor McGregor.
He's trying to be a Conor McGregor style personality, and it's just coming off more and more contrived, and I can't deal with it. And so to finish off the thought, he took a picture on Instagram of him with these 2, I'm assuming models with bikini with whipped cream bikinis. Mm-hmm. And so he's like, I am, sexy American male. Gosh.
Oh, it's beyond just the picture. He has a whole video that goes along with it. It is problematic at best.
Yeah, I see. This is where the UFC needs to step in. Man. Yeah, they need the code of conduct. You don't want your fighters, objectifying women in this way. It's just bad. Don't do it. Fight. That's what you are.
This will be where, going back to our combative thing, if you don't agree with me, now come at me. I'd love to hear your take on why this is acceptable.
It's not acceptable because of my own personal beliefs and my code of ethics.
Yeah.
But if I put on the hat of the UFC as a promotion, I mean this would play. I'm sorry. I get that. I would not be a very good. Actually, maybe I would be a good president
Arbiter.
of the UFC.
Ugh,
Just because, I have very strong beliefs on what plays and what doesn't play, but I know Dana White. I know I don't know him personally.
I was like, oh, for real? Get him on the show, bro.
I know the Dana White personality, and what Colby Covington is doing something that's making people feel people have an opinion, and if people have an opinion, that means people are going to watch. So it plays very well into the strategy that UFC has for promoting fights. I respect what they are trying to do. I just wouldn't do it. It is not in my own code of ethics to condone or support anything that objectifies women. Hell, I got mad whenever they were promoting some of the female fighters in a sexy way. So I have a problem with that. So anyway, we have gotten off the rails. You got anything else?
No, that covers it for me.
All right, well then let's do this. Follow us on social media. On Twitter, I'm at CST Ryan.
And I am at CST_, remembered it this time, the letter K and C.
You can check out the website at www.combatsportstalk.com. And you can find us on iTunes, SoundCloud, Facebook, and Instagram. We now have merchandise on Amazon. So go on Amazon, search for Combat Sports Talk. You will find our Combat Sports Talk logo tee. Both KC and I are in the design studio coming up with new designs every single day. So be on the lookout for new shirt designs out there and support the show. And then finally, we've added a new section on the website for live events. I'm trying to get UFC 223 up, but we will start doing that for the pay-per-views, having those live reactions, and ultimately what I want to do is be able to make those live shows where you can interact with us while we watch the fight. Anything else, sir?
Nope.
All right, let's go home. Our theme music is composed by Scott McCurry at scottdeancountry.com. KC Onyebuchi produced our lead-ins. I want to thank you for joining us for another edition of Combat Sports Talk. For KC Onyebuchi, I'm Ryan Smith, reminding you to keep your hands up, your chin tucked, and throw bombs.